The pot roast was losing its warmth while my mom continued to top off everyone's wine glasses. All the while my brother Mike carried on with his monologue. Honestly, he declared, brandishing his fork as if to punctuate his words, who really needs a smart gadget that monitors their pet's emotional well-being? It's the most ridiculous thing ever. My name is Sophie Chin, and though I'm 29, I've just sold my pet technology firm, PA Print, to Google for $4.2 billion. Yet, no one at this dinner with my family was aware of it yet. It's not limited to emotional tracking, I muttered, nudging my peas around the plate absentmindedly. The AI can forecast health concerns before they escalate, potentially saving pets' lives. Mike let out a dismissive scoff. Sure, because adding more paranoid pet owners is exactly what the world needs. How many of those magic collars have you managed to sell? He quipped. The non-disclosure agreement in my laptop bag came to mind, as the acquisition wouldn't become public until the stock market opened the following day. However, we had achieved a remarkable milestone, 12 million units sold within just the last year, with a waiting list double that number. Sales are steady, I replied, keeping it vague. Mike sneered incredulously. Doing well, right? Is that why you still drive that old Honda and live in that cramped apartment? Face it, Sophie, you should have stuck with investment banking like me. At least you'd have something tangible to show for all those brilliant grades you got in college. My father shifted uncomfortably in his seat. Mike, maybe we should, Dad started to say, but Mike cut him off. No, Dad, someone needs to wake her up to reality, he insisted. She gave up a six-figure salary to tinker with circuit boards in a garage. It's embarrassing. He spoke of the garage. Unbeknownst to him, it was actually a cutting-edge R&D lab where my team of 50 engineers radically transformed veterinary care with AI. But Mike never cared to visit, so how would he know? Switching topics, I asked, how's the merger going at your bank? Mike had been boasting for months about a deal he was spearheading. His expression changed slightly. It's in progress. There's a little hiccup with numbers, but nothing we can't handle. What he hadn't realized was that I was fully aware of the reasons his merger was hitting a snag. My company's AI advancement had piqued the interest of every noteworthy tech conglomerate, and during acquisition discussions, I had insights into various industry mechanics. Mike's financial institution was trying to merge with a collapsing company, hiding failing assets through creative accounting tactics. It was all on the brink of collapse. I'm sure you will, I said, taking another mouthful of now chilled pot roast. 3 years back, when I first departed the banking sector to initiate PA Print, Mike had been my biggest skeptic. Banking is where real business happens, he'd say. This animal project is just a misuse of your education. He failed to grasp that my banking background was precisely the foundation needed to construct PA Print. I had witnessed how conventional industries disregarded innovation, missing out on glaring opportunities. While Mike shuffled papers and manipulated figures, I was building something genuine. The inspiration for PA Print originated from when my cat, Luna, fell ill. By the time I recognized something was amiss, the cancer had progressed too far. If only I had had an earlier sign, if there had been a way to sense changes in her behavior and health indicators before reaching a critical stage. That's when the revelation struck. Pets aren't able to communicate their unease, yet their bodies and behaviors emit signals far ahead of apparent symptoms. If we could, my mother's voice interrupted my thoughts as I pondered how capturing and analyzing data could transform pet healthcare. Sophie, honey, perhaps Mike has a point, she said. You're not getting any younger, and that apartment of yours. I remembered the beachfront property I had recently purchased in Malibu, where I would move after tomorrow's announcement. The real estate agent was shocked when I paid cash, but with $1 billion company quietly in my possession, it's feasible. I like my apartment, Mom, I replied. It's convenient for work. Mike chuckled. Work? You mean your little pet project? Come on, Sophie, it's time to mature. Even my junior analysts probably earn more than you with your toy company. Little did he know that his entire bank's market cap was less than what Google paid for my toy company. Tomorrow, financial news outlets everywhere would break the story. Google acquires PA Print AI in the largest pet tech deal ever. For now, I simply smiled and asked Mom for the gravy. After dinner, as everyone gathered in the living room for coffee, a text message came in from David, my lead engineer. Everything's ready for tomorrow. Google's press release is set. Are you sure you don't want to let her family know tonight? I glanced at Mike, who was entertaining everyone with stories of his recent luxury car purchase. Some surprises are worth waiting for, I texted back. My father approached me in the kitchen while I assisted Mom with the dishes. Are you all right, sweetheart? Mike was quite critical tonight. I dried a plate, reflecting on all the times Dad supported my curiosity, bought me electronics kits as a child, and stood by my decision to study both computer science and finance in college. I'm okay, Dad, I assured him. Actually, you might find tomorrow's business news intriguing. He gave me a curious look but didn't press further. Dad had always been great at respecting secrets. Driving home that night in my Honda, with sentimental value as the last car Luna rode in before she passed, I contemplated the impending changes. The money wasn't a major concern. I had been effectively a billionaire on paper for months as acquisition talks advanced. What mattered was stepping out of the shadows to show my family and the world what I had built. My phone buzzed again. It was a message from Sarah Kim, my attorney. Final paperwork is complete. The merger Mike's working on just encountered regulatory review issues. Timing couldn't be better. I smiled, thinking about the upcoming board meeting at Mike's bank, where he'd have to explain his oversight in the merger targets books, just as I'd be appearing on CNBC. Often, the best form of vindication isn't proving others wrong, but proving yourself right. On the morning of the announcement, I awoke early and brewed coffee in my humble apartment. The view of Silicon Valley from my balcony seemed especially stunning today, or perhaps it was just my mood. At 6:30 a.m., my phone began buzzing nonstop. First CNBC, then Bloomberg, then practically every financial journalist in the country. They'd all seen the news. Google's acquisition of PawPrint AI for $4.2 billion, the largest pet tech purchase in history. Right now, I declined interviews. There would be time for that later. Instead, I tuned into CNBC and waited. The time was 7:45 a.m. when my face flashed on the screen alongside the acquisition headlines. In mere moments, my phone was overwhelmed with notifications. The first one was from Mom. Sophie, is this for real? Call me. Then came Dad's message. I knew it. So proud of you, swear. Conspicuously missing was any message from Mike. Arriving at the PawPrint headquarters, I was met with a jubilant atmosphere. My team was congregating for the big announcement. As I moved through the office, I witnessed hugs, tears, and a wave of celebration. Many of my team members had taken equity instead of higher salaries upon joining, making them all millionaires today. My assistant Rachel, Ms. Chin, shouted out to me, "Your brother's bank is trying to contact you. It seems they're interested in investment opportunities." I couldn't help but grin and said, "Have them reach out to Google's corporate development team. We're a subsidiary now." The irony wasn't lost on me. Just 3 years earlier, as I attempted to raise my first round of funding, I approached Mike's bank. He had laughed me out of the room, telling me to return when I had a real business plan. Now, his bank was clamoring for a share in the action, but it was far too late. On the same day of my acquisitions announcement, news erupted regarding the troubled merger Mike had been working on. The target company's financials were far worse than anyone realized, sending his bank's stock into a nosedive. By noon, my mother appeared at the office, tears streaming down her face. "Why didn't you tell us?" she asked, embracing me tightly. "All this while we thought." "You thought what, Mom?" "That I was failing, that Mike was right about me squandering my potential," I said. She looked embarrassed. "We were just so concerned about you working endless hours, living so modestly when you could have had a comfortable lifestyle in banking." I took her on a tour of the office, showing her the labs where our AI technology was developed, the walls adorned with thank you letters from pet owners whose pets' lives our early detection system had saved. "I'm comfortable, Mom," I assured her. "I've been comfortable for a while. I just didn't feel the need to flaunt it." My phone buzzed. Finally, a call from Mike. I sent it to voicemail. Later that afternoon, I attended my first official meeting with Google's executive team. They wanted to talk about expansion plans, integration strategies, and my role going forward. I was given the task of leading their new pet technology division, equipped with a significant budget and freedom. Leaving the Google campus, yet another voicemail from Mike. Sophie, we need to talk. This merger situation, I could really use your help. Your exit is all everyone is talking about. Maybe you could put in a good word with some investors. I pondered all those family dinners where he belittled my work, every instance when he dismissed my company as just a cute hobby. Now he needed my assistance. Returning home that evening, I found him in my building's lobby. How did you get in here? I inquired, though I already knew. He was still my emergency contact, a status that needed revisiting. Sophie, please, he implored, tailing me to the elevator. My career is at risk here. The merger is unraveling, our stock is plummeting, and suddenly, you're the golden child of Silicon Valley. You have to help me. I pivoted to confront him. Have to? Like you had to make fun of my ridiculous gadget at dinner last night? Like you had to tell everyone I was squandering my life? He retorted. I was wrong, okay? Is that what you want to hear? You're the brilliant one, the successful one. Upon reaching the desired floor, I exited the elevator as Mike continued his plea. Can we talk about how you're going to assist your brother out of this predicament? I was firm. No, Mike, that's not possible. This isn't a question of brilliance or achievement. It's about respect. You never appreciated my work, my decisions, or respected me. You believed success had only one definition, yours. But now you're discovering there's more, and that's a realization you must embrace fully. What do you mean? He wondered. I wish you luck with the merger, I added. I hear Google's corporate development team supplies outstanding feedback on due diligence practices. You might consider exploring that. I shut my apartment door amidst his protests and turned to check my other messages. The acquisition had made me Tack Magazine's youngest self-made female billionaire. Magazine covers were being drafted, and speaking invitations were pouring in. Yet, the most fulfilling part was an email from an Ohio pet owner thanking me because my device detected his dog's heart condition 3 months ahead of any symptoms, which, if left undiagnosed, would have been fatal. I then browsed my real estate agent site, admiring the Malibu house I purchased. Movers were scheduled for next week, and I pondered possibly hosting my family for dinner once settled, showing them what their supposed failing daughter had genuinely accomplished. Yet, before that, I had company responsibilities and lives to save. Success, I realized, revolved not around proving others incorrect but staying true to one's vision, even if nobody else understood it. 2 months post-Google acquisition, I sat in my new Malibu home, witnessing the sun dip into the Pacific. The house was everything I'd envisioned, modern, spacious, featuring a dedicated room for Luna's old belongings and a wall of gratitude letters from paw print users. A text from Mike interrupted my thoughts. The merger was officially off the table, and a board meeting loomed tomorrow to address leadership changes. Please, Sophie, I need your assistance, he pleaded through the phone. I set it aside without answering as industry rumors indicated Mike's bank suffered billions from the failed merger and many were losing their positions, including possibly his own. The doorbell chimed. It was my parents, visiting my new home for the first time. Oh, honey, Mom exclaimed, overwhelmed by the sight, while Dad, intrigued by my wall of letters, remarked, "These are what truly matter," as he absorbed the stories of pets saved by the early detection system I developed. They are, I affirmed. The money is great, but this is why I built it. With a private chef preparing our meal, we dined on the terrace, where I noticed Mom grappling with a concern. Mike's in trouble, isn't he? She broached. His choices led him there, Mom, I replied. But your connections could help, she pressed. Reflecting on last Christmas when Mike degraded me, claiming I was wasting my life and would never succeed in a real business, even as I secretly negotiated final terms with Google, I pondered. I was already worth billions on paper then, but chose to remain silent. Do you know why? I asked quietly. She listened intently. I wanted to uncover who he truly was, not the facade he constructed out of necessity, but his authentic self. The following morning, Rather than lending Mike a hand, I drove to his bank for the board meeting because Google had an interest in possibly acquiring some of the bank's technology assets after the failed merger. As the new head of special projects, I'd be leading the evaluation process. When I arrived, Mike was in the lobby with the appearance of having not slept for days. "Sophie, thank God," he began, but I raised a hand to stop him. "I'm here as a potential acquirer, Mike, nothing else. Google is interested in your AI trading platform and will be evaluating it over the next foreseeable weeks." His face fell. "But I'm your brother," he exclaimed. "Yes, you are," I replied, "and for years you used our relationship to belittle me, to inflate your own ego by making me feel small. Now, with the tables turned, you want to leverage that same relationship for your benefit." "I said I was sorry," Mike murmured. "No, Mike, you said you were wrong. There's a difference. Saying sorry means comprehending the harm caused and wanting to make amends. Being wrong only means the results didn't meet your expectations." With that, I proceeded to the elevator, reflecting on the times he had made me doubt myself, the numerous family meals where he had belittled my ambitions. The board meeting was concise. Mike's team showcased their technology, trying in vain to impress Google's new technology division leader. I posed probing questions, highlighted weaknesses in their system, and watched my brother squirm as I demonstrated a level of technical acumen he had never anticipated I possessed. After the meeting, I found Dad waiting at my car. "You didn't have to be so hard on him in there," he remarked. "Yes, I did, Dad. Not for revenge, for his own good," I stated. Mike must learn that real success doesn't come from demeaning others or taking shortcuts, but from constructing something genuine, something beneficial to people, or in my case, beneficial to pets. Dad acknowledged slowly, saying, "You remind me of your grandmother. She built her business from scratch, faced discrimination, but never lost sight of her purpose." I smiled at the thought of Grandma Chun and her fierce determination. She had been the first to invest in Pointech, handing me a check and simply saying, "Make something that matters." That evening, I sat in my home office, perusing acquisition proposals for Google. The technology from Mike's bank wasn't worthwhile to acquire. Too many corners cut. Too much emphasis on flash over substance, just like Mike. My phone buzzed once more. It was Mike again. "I get it now, I truly do. I'm sorry, Sophie. Not because I was wrong, but because I hurt you. Can we talk, really talk?" I stared at the message for a long while, contemplating family, forgiveness, and what truly matters in the end. After pondering, I texted back, "Coffee tomorrow at my office in Google. Let's start over. Understanding that success isn't solely about proving yourself right or others wrong. Sometimes it's about leading others to a better path, even if they have to fall first to recognize it." As I looked out at the ocean, I thought of Luna, whose illness had catalyzed all this. On my desk was her old collar, now fitted with the latest Pointech version. It wouldn't resurrect her, but it was saving thousands of pets every day. That embodies what real success looks like. Not the house, the billions, or the headlines, but lives transformed for the better, even if some of those lives belong to individuals who once doubted you.